Hello everyone, Mike with Spray Jones. I was contemplating doing some sort of, artistic-y type entrance to this video with some music and some shots of different spraying of foam, and then I thought, forget it. This video is about how to deal with a bad spray foam job, and anybody that's clicking on this video is probably going through something like that right now and wants to cut to the chase. So let's do it. How to deal with a bad spray foam job. You'd be surprised that I get a lot of comments and people direct message me through the website, and I really don't have a lot of time right now to answer people's questions. I probably get 10 personal requests a week that I'm never going to see a dime from, and I'm not only money driven, that's not the only thing, but I just cannot put a lot of time and effort into solving certain people's issues that I'm not involved in. I'm not going to be compensated for one way or another, and I'm not a consulting company, so I'm not going to do anything other than point them in the right direction. So that's what this video is about, giving you some practical points that you can watch at 10 o'clock at night in any state, any province, any situation that you're in, and get to the bottom of what's going on with your spray foam. So this sort of applies whether you're the general contractor and you chose this person and now you're not sure about the information, or you're the end user. So the first thing is to contact your general contractor. If you're the homeowner and something doesn't seem right or doesn't look right or what have you, the first is to get directly in contact with the people responsible for hiring the spray foam guy. So if you are the end user and you hired them, give them a call, reach out to them, and this is the reason I'm putting this in point one: don't overreact, please. So I've had a number of people contact me. They thought the job has been faulty, and in this day and age, emotions can get pretty high, and rhetoric can start getting flung around pretty quick, and it just accelerates things and makes things all that worse. So don't exaggerate. Don't sit there and say this is the worst spray job ever, or that the whole job is low, or that the whole job stinks to high heaven, or whatever. Just walk softly, carry a big stick, don't overreact, and start to detail out in a cohesive manner what you're having issues with, what you have concerns about, what requires further investigation, what you have questions about, and allow them to respond or what have you. Now, if they're not going to respond and they're going to cut off all communication, whether it's your general contractor or your spray foam guy, then that rolls in sort of the next 4 or 5 points that I'm going to make. The second thing would be sure of what product you even have. So you'd be surprised, people reach out to me and say, hey, we're having issues, and you start to ask them some basic questions they don't even know. So are you dealing with an open cell half-pound foam? Are you dealing with a closed cell foam? If so, what is the product? You'd be shocked to learn most people don't know. They don't know what was quoted. They don't remember. So find out. 2-pound, half-pound, what is the manufacturer? What is the brand name, if there is one? And then in this day and age with supply chain shortages, maybe what you were quoted is not what they've had to put in. Maybe they had to go with an alternate. So you should always be up to date, because you cannot source the problem and start to figure out solutions if you don't know first and foremost what you were receiving. Point number 3, know what spec you were supposed to have. Now, this can be a little bit difficult if you didn't hire the guy, your general contractor did, and now they're having issues, but you're going to have to get in and take some onus and responsibility, even if you are the GC and you're the go-between between the homeowners and what have you. Know what the spec you were supposed to have. So somebody's got to tell you whether it's inches or certain value ratings, but understand this. What you're supposed to have is not always just dependent on code. I mean, lots of times we're doing retrofits, we're doing agricultural buildings, we're doing industrial buildings, we're doing, I did a job for a commercial building where the architect requested 1 inch, had nothing to do with code. That's just what he wanted, to get something sealed between 2 joints and across the wall for air seal. So there's way more than code, like you should have put this in, you should have put that in. Don't go down that road. Research exactly what was the spec. I had a guy that only wanted 2 inches of foam on the inside of the walls because he was putting 2 and 3 inches of styrofoam on the outside. So know how much, where, and why you're supposed to be putting it on. And the why is probably the most important factor, and that will help you out between knowing what the product is. And then the fourth point, know what dates your job was done and what the climatic conditions were during that time. So a lot of times, well, this was sprayed 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 5 months ago. I don't remember. They had a guy. I don't know. We were on vacation. I was out of town that week. The guy came, he sprayed, he took off. These are all problems, right? So know when the person was there and what was going on. Was it raining? Was it storming? Was it minus 20 degrees Celsius that entire week and they had no heat in the job? I had one guy send me a message and said, well, these guys sprayed this garage for me and it wasn't warm during the job, and they said, oh, it should have been heated, but they never told them that. So he's like, that would have been nice to have known. So compare the job site, the time that they were on the job site, and the climatic conditions with what was going on. Now, I mean, we've had to push it, so don't get too Hitlerish with sticking to the rules. I had one guy that phoned me up once, and he's like, oh, I got a guy that's going to come to my state, my province, and he wants to spray, and he's going to be spraying with the summer foam, and summer foam says that it's rated no colder than 5 degrees, and it's going down to like 3-4 degrees at night. And I just kind of chuckled, and I said, there's no problem with any of that. And he goes, yeah, but the book says, and I'm like, no. It's like recommendations aren't going to get you entirely in trouble. Like if you've got a summer foam and it's rated down to 5 degrees and they sprayed it at 3 or even 2, it's more than likely going to be fine, folks. Like it really is. A couple of degrees the other way, especially if it's stick and especially if it's worked. If it popped right off the wall and okay, then you've got something to go talk about, right? Same thing with things being wet, things being frosty in the morning. Maybe the building was damp and they went out and got at it and started spraying. I mean, we've had to push it. We had to go do a commercial grade beam. We only had summer foam on. It was late into the season, late summer, early fall. The mornings were getting cool. They weren't even making fall grade foam yet, so we had to use what we had. And I told the general straight up, we're pushing it, but we're going to push it because you need it done. You need to be backfilling by the end of the week. And we're just going to keep an eye on it. And if there's a few areas that pop or don't adhere as well just because we pushed it, well, then we'll just touch them up. And that did happen. We had 1 or 2 little spots that curled, and we just cut them out and touched them up. The whole job doesn't need to be redone, and sometimes you just have to at these times and seasons where things are changing climatically. You're going to have to push the issues. So there isn't always a off with their head moment if they didn't have quite the exact right foam. Point number 5, mark the areas that need further inspection. Get around. Probably aerosol can with some spray paint. You can just mark some areas that are thin, low, delaminated, popping, whatever. That's provided the job isn't like bloody obvious that you could see all over the place that things are wrong. And then you can have further discussion. Like I had a guy call me up and he's like, oh yeah, no, your guys are way low. They didn't put anywhere near enough spray foam on. I was like, okay, we'll mark the areas. Let's see. And sure enough, I got out there and went right to the areas that he was saying and probed them, and they were fine. They were absolutely fine. They were beyond spec, in fact. So a lot of times visuals play tricks with people, especially the untrained that are not used to looking at things. So just mark the areas that require further inspection, and then you can get the people out there to investigate. And point number 6 is probably the biggest point, and that is get people to help you that know foam. Know foam. Okay? So, I mean, this would include doing like a thermal inspection on the place if you've already had it sprayed and you're having some issues. You can do core samples on the foam. You can do adhesion pull tests. You can pull the lot numbers on what the drums were that they were using. Most people are starting to get more and more daily work logs, so you don't need to go in and audit the guy, but I mean, combining climatic conditions with what grade and brand of foam they were using. Were they spraying it too thick, too quick? Did they spray it too cold? Did they have the wrong grade? And then what are the lot numbers? Because there is the ability for there to be some bad batches. I mean, I've watched and had some veterans that have gotten some perfectly good, or what they thought was perfectly good foam, and had nothing but problems with delamination or you name it, just some sort of funky problem they've never seen before. And you say, well, have you seen this until you got that shipment? No, we haven't. Okay, track the lot numbers, mark it, tag it, and then start doing some further investigation. Foam can be cut out, it can be removed, it can be shaved, it can be resprayed, and more can be added to it, right? So if something is a total failure, it can be removed and resprayed, or if it's off ratio or something like that, it can be cut out. Select areas can be cut out. If the machine was causing problems, or they had problems, or they didn't do something right, you don't have to go and rip out the whole entire job and start over. But you need to get people that can help you and be in your corner, and this can be sort of a home inspection agency. More and more of them are getting understanding foam. In architectural circles, there's roofing companies, there's commercial building inspector people. A lot of times there's some type of a third party that's used to doing inspections, but not all of them have foam inspection, and I think that's going to be something that the industry is going to have to respond with more and more as time goes on. But most people that have thermographic building inspection experience that will come in and do a thermography and a blower door test, they can very quickly identify areas of air leakage, areas of insufficient insulation, and whether or not there's an actual problem with the spray foam itself, like a chemistry issue or a ratio issue. Well, then that can directly go back to the supplier. The supplier is always going to be the person of last resort. Even if the spray foam company doesn't want to answer your calls, get back to you and do the appropriate thing. You can always get on the phone with whoever it was that manufactured it, ABC Foam Company, get one of their representatives, because they're not going to want to get dragged through the mud with one of their guys that didn't do it right. They're going to want to make it right generally. So get people in your corner that know and understand spray foam, have experience with spray foam, and that doesn't mean running down the street to the next spray foam guy and getting him to do a tattletale on you. I'm very reluctant to give opinions and do inspections for people who have been asked, can you come and take a look at these and take a look at this? I'm not going to do that kind of stuff. I'll point you in the right direction. I'll give you some advice like I'm doing in this video, and then you can get the right people in your corner that can go to bat for you legally and even morally on what's happened. So these 6 points will get you off and running. 12 minutes into a video is more than enough. Hope everything works out for you well. I'm sure it will. Be blessed. Click on the like, the subscribe, and the share for people that also need to see this video and understand what's going on, and we'll catch you on a future one. Bye.